Welcome back once again to that show of shows, YTTV. Your man is back. Pigskin Facts, History and News. I am your host of hosts, Fred Watson Jr. Happy New Year. And I'll tell you, it's the off season, and there's been a lot of things going down. The last time you saw me, I told you that Snyder, the Redskins owner, hired former Carolina Panthers coach Ron Rivera. And Ron Rivera has come in, and Snyder has also made him the final voice as to decisions being made. And Riverboat Ron, or Ron Burgundy, as we call him, has come in and he's made some decisions and he's made some coaching hires. So I'm going to go a little later in the program on the new coaching changes, because there's been a lot more arsons, a lot more flames in the front office and the coaching. And in the coaching area, there's been a lot more flames than a California wildfire. And there's still more to come. So a lot of things are happening in the Redskins front office. And as we go further, we're going to discuss a few things. And first, I like to ask a question. And this is an easy one, but I'm not going to reveal the answer to my next segment. So, here it goes. What coach was defeated by an opponent, lost his job, and hired within a month's time by the team that defeated his team? I will have that answer on the next segment. All right, let's get into a few things here. And I'd like to discuss Coach Rivera. 5 things to know about new Redskins coach Ron Rivera, or Riverboat Ron, or Ron Burgundy, as he's being called now in D.C. Okay, first thing to know about Coach Rivera is he's a defensive-minded coach. He was a former player. He played. He played in college. I'm not sure the name of the college is somewhere in California. I don't know if it's California Poly or something like that. But he was a linebacker. He was very good. He was drafted by the Chicago Bears. He played about 9 seasons with the Chicago Bears. He was a member of that great 85 Bears Super Bowl team. He was number 59. So if you go back and watch the old games, Coach Ron Rivera was number 59. He was a linebacker. He played alongside greats such as Mike Singletary, Wilbur Marshall, Richard Dent, Steve McMichael, William the Refrigerator Perry. He played on that team. Then he went into coaching. And this is awesome, because this is the first time that we've had a defensive-minded coach since the year 2001. You go back almost 19 years, and that was Coach Marty Schottenheimer. He was the last defensive-minded coach that the Redskins hired. And if you want to go even further back, you can go back to the 1970s, where we kept a defensive-minded coach for multiple seasons. And that last coach happened to be George Allen from 1971 to 1977. So he had a 67-30-1 record. He had a Super Bowl appearance. He had many NFC titles that he had won. But he was a defensive-minded coach, and the Redskins were a very good team back then. George Allen, 1971 to 1977. He had a 67-30-1 record. Pretty impressive. Marty Schottenheimer, however, only coached for 1 season, The Redskins were 8-8 that year, and then after that, he was fired, and the Redskins moved on, and the climb downhill for the organization continued. Number two, something to know about Coach Ron Rivera. He was greatly influenced by the Hall of Famer John Madden, the ex-Raiders coach, the ex-broadcaster. Many of you know the video game that was named after him, Madden. He met John Madden when he was 15 years old. And when he played football and he got into the pro ranks, John Madden at the time was an announcer. And he met up with him a few times, and he had a very deep impact on his life. And also, he greatly influenced Ron Rivera's coaching style. And there was an old mantra that John Madden used to have for all of his Raiders players was be on time, pay attention, and play like hell. That was his mantra when he was the former coach. He was the former coach of the Oakland Raiders, but that was his mantra. Be on time, pay attention, and play like hell. That was it. So that helped Ron Rivera's coaching philosophies a whole bunch because John Madden influenced him and he was behind that and he encouraged him. And now Ron Rivera is a highly respected coach around the NFL. And that's another one of the things to know about Ron Rivera is that he is highly respected around the NFL. He's already been to a Super Bowl. He's won many division titles from his team. And he, as a coach, knows what it takes to come into an organization and turn a team like the Carolina Panthers that he coached. They were 2-14. He inherited a 2-14 team, and within 2 years turned them around. I believe they were 7-9 the following year, and the year after that they were 12-4. So he knows what it's like as a coach to come in and to take a doormat of an NFL team and turn them into a perennial powerhouse. And that's exactly what Coach Ron Rivera did. Number three, he's called Riverboat Ron. That's his nickname, and he's called that because of his aggressive play calling as a coach. I'm not going to elaborate on that, but you can pretty much get the picture of aggressive play calling. You know, say it's at the end of a game, for say, and let's say they're down by 1 point, and it's probably 30 seconds on the clock, and they got one timeout. So instead of just kicking the field goal to win the game, he takes a risk on 4th and 1 and tries to run the ball. And whether they convert it or not, that's an aggressive play call. So those are the type of things that a coach does that. But he's called Riverboat Ron for that reason, because of his aggressive play calling. He's not afraid to have his players stick their head in there and risk or lose a game. Excuse me. And finally, the last thing is Coach Rivera is ready to he's ready to roll his sleeves up and go to work. He made a statement that the Carolina Panthers fired him after the Redskins game. It was right around Thanksgiving time. And Coach Rivera said that he's tired of getting up every day and doing dishes. So you know that he's antsy. He's ready to get back into coaching. He's ready to, and not long after that, hallelujah, owner Dan Snyder made the call, and talked to Ron Rivera, met with him, had dinner with him, whatever, fellowship with him, and now he's the coach of the Washington Redskins. So he made the call. So now that's great news, Redskin fans. Bruce Allen is no longer the president, of course. He's been fired. So I believe that as an organization, we're trending in the right direction. And I got to give, people knock Dan Snyder, but I think you got to kind of give him credit. He's been studying lately. You can tell he's gone back and he's like, you know what? I want to win. I'm tired of losing and I'm tired of my organization being dysfunctional. You got to give the man credit. The man did a little research and found out why it is that teams win. Teams like the Seahawks, teams like the Chiefs, teams like the Patriots. He kind of did his homework this time, finally. It took him a long time, but give the man credit, he did. And he hired Ron Rivera, and he also turned the reins over to Ron Rivera to have the final say-so and to make decisions. So he's kind of learning and he's kind of getting out of the way. So Redskin fans, be overjoyed. I believe that we got a winner, and there will be no more Jamie Foxx, no more sleepless nights for us. No more sleepless nights. So he's ready to get to work. He's ready to roll. As a fan, I'm excited. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to see how everything unfolds. And even in the off season, this is exciting because we're seeing the old regime of the Redskins organization being cleaned out little by little. And we're seeing new people coming in and getting hired. And Ron Rivera actually he's actually brought in some of his coaches and some of his staff from Carolina. So they're being blended in to the Redskins organization. They're being blended. But that might be a good thing because there's familiarity there. There's familiarity. Did I say that right? Familiarity. If I didn't, then don't sue me for it. Familiarity. That he has that with people that he's worked with before, and I believe that that's a good thing. I believe that that's a good thing because when you have dysfunctional pieces from different places like we had before, there was no continuity as far as being a winner. There was no culture change. We became the doormat of the NFL. We were not respected as a team. Every year it was just new pieces added here and there. A coach here, a coordinator there. I mean, but I believe that all now is changing, and Rivera's coming in and he's building up something into the image that he wants to build, and I believe that he's building a winner here in DC, and I definitely look forward to that. He said some interesting things on his news conference, and I just wanted to go over a few of them. And he said, my responsibility is to get the most out of the players, to work with them, to teach them, to mentor them. If I have to do it one by one, I most certainly will do it. I've done it in the past, and I'll do it again. I do what I can to help these young men become not just the players we want, but the men in the community we need. That right there is change. That right there is the beginning of a culture change. A change of culture, per se. That right there, that statement right there, shows me the fact that this man is a winner because what? He's investing in people. He's not just investing in football players on the field, but he's investing in people as human beings, and he values that. And that right there shows that this man cares. That right there shows that these players are going to buy into his philosophy, and they're going to want to play for him and play hard. That right there is the beginning of a winning culture, and I see it just by those words right there. They're not just words, but he means what he says, and he's going to come in and do it. and you are going to see a radical change. I'm not saying we're going to the Super Bowl in year one, but you're going to see a radical change in that locker room and the personnel, and you're going to see a radical change translate from the players, from their mentality, from what this man is telling them to their performance on the field. You're going to see it. I guarantee it. Coach Rivera also said we need 11 guys doing one thing at a time, not one guy trying to do all 11. And he said he'll probably repeat that over and over again. But I get what he's saying. He's pretty much saying, I'm coming in and I'm bringing discipline to this team. Not so much, pulling off a belt and spanking a child. Not that. But discipline. Know your job. Do your job. Perform your job well. He's bringing in focus. Focus and discipline. So basically, he's coming in to teach his players, focus on your job, pay attention to what it is, pay attention to detail, and go out and practice, do the fundamentals, perfect the fundamentals, go out on the field and perform. Simply do your job. Focus and discipline. I like that. I really do. I like that. He also said, to win the Super Bowl, and I mean it too, the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong. That right there is the mentality of a coach that we have not seen in DC in a long time. The last coach, Gruden, he didn't bring that. What was his words when he came to DC? Oh, I'm going to try to do the best I can to help us win. Bull crap. Bull crap. This right here, what this man said, this man has been to a Super Bowl. He understands what it is to coach in this league. He understands what it is to take a doormat of a team and take them and turn them into a perennial powerhouse. This man understands what it is to win. This man understands that you got to go and get the best quality players that you can, the best product, put them on the field and let them do their thing, and they'll produce. We have definitely hit a home run. Dan Snyder has finally hit a home run. After striking out for years and years, he finally hit a home run, I believe, with this hire. Coach Rivera also says, I believe in me and I'll bet on me. That exudes confidence. It oozes nothing but confidence. Not cheese spread on a Ritz cracker, but it oozes confidence. Confidence. He can transform this 3-13 Redskins team to a winner. Rivera is a winner. He's proved it over and over, and he's going to do it again. He inherited in 2011 a 2-14 Carolina Panthers team. The first year, no, they did not make the playoffs. No, they did not go to the Super Bowl. But they won more games than they did the previous year, and they had a new attitude. They finished 7-9. 5-game improvement. The following year, they went 12-4, and they went to the playoffs. And they were a couple games short of the Super Bowl. The year after that, they went 15-1. They went all the way to the Super Bowl. No, they didn't win it, but this man has the credentials. He's won division titles, numerous division, 3 or 4 division titles with the Panthers. Been to a Super Bowl. Has a winning record as a coach, a winning attitude, a winning philosophy. And now he brings that to Washington. That will translate from him, and it'll permeate to the players, and it'll permeate on the field. and it'll permeate in the win column more often for the Redskins. He said, one last thing that he said, we are going to play the run on our way to the quarterback. Coach Ron Rivera is a defensive guru, and he hired Jack Del Rio, a former winning coach in his own right, a former linebacker as a player in the NFL in his own right, who is also a defensive guru. So just imagine now these two pinning their minds, collaborating, and meshing their minds together. They're both defensive gurus. The Redskins were horrible in defense. Under Minuski, we were 31st in yards, rushing yards allowed, 146.2 yards per game we gave up. Greg Minuski was fired. Long time coming. Long time coming. I got a new nickname for Coach Rivera, and I call him the Terminator. Because he's come in and he's the Terminator, yes. He's come in and he's fired some folks. They've gotten rid of some folks already. I call him the Terminator. I'll be back. I will be a winner. I will build a new franchise in my image. I will destroy every other NFL team with my team. The Terminator. He made a statement, and he said, we're going to play the run on our way to the quarterback. Defensive minded. We're going to play the run on our way to the quarterback. What does that mean? Jack Del Rio, recently interviewed, said that he wants to switch the Redskins defense from a 3-4 to a 4-3. The 3-4 defense, basically you only have 3 linemen on the line rushing the quarterback. And then you have a lot more linebackers behind the 3 trying to cover and play the pass. Or to try to fill the gaps, per se. But a lot of them are in cover mode. In the 4-3, you have more defensive linemen on the line trying to rush the quarterback. And then you got your edge rushers on the outside if you want to do a full-out blitz. Put some in the middle. I think a 4-3 would be a perfect fit for our defense because we had so many bullet holes in our armor. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, your grandma, my grandmother, I mean, hell, I mean, you know, Grandma and Pa Kettle, they could have ran the ball through the Redskins defense and they wouldn't have been able to stop them. Oh, Slowpoke Rodriguez, Speedy Gonzalez's cousin. Ondere, iba, eha! Speedy Gonzalez's cousin, Slowpoke, could have ran through that hole and gained 146 yards against the Redskins defense. They couldn't stop anybody. But with Jack Del Rio, now as our defensive coordinator, collaborating with the mind of head coach Ron Rivera, who's also a defensive guru, they want to transform this defense to a 4-3. And the edge rush linebackers like Ryan Kerrigan, Montez Sweat, they want them to do more rushing now. Charging the passer instead of covering. It's that simple. They do that better rushing the quarterback than they do covering and playing the pass, or backpedaling or moving backwards. They do much better moving forward on their way to the quarterback than they do backwards. The 2020 draft will be coming in April. And guys, it's got to be a no-brainer. We have the number 2 pick, and I definitely want the Redskins to pick the one that they call the Predator, Chase Young. We have got to get the best defensive player available, Chase Young, who they call the Predator. And he is the Predator. He is that. He hunts down quarterbacks and he destroys them. Just imagine with Chase Young lining up next to Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Matt Ioannidis, Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan. Wow, we got a scary, scary, scary defense indeed. And I can't wait. You know, it kind of ticked me off because they did a grade on the New York Giants. They just hired Joe Judge. He's a special team specialist from the New England Patriots. I don't know the man. I can't judge him. I don't know how he was as a coach. But this is his first coaching stint. They graded him a C+. Mike McCarthy, former Green Bay Packers coach, sat out a year last year. Was fired by the Green Bay Packers 2 years ago. He now has been hired by the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. They gave this man an A+. He's an offensive-minded coach. Dan Snyder goes out, makes a phone call, immediately hires one of the best coaches on the market, Ron Rivera, former Carolina Panthers coach. They graded him a B+. That's bullshit. I graded an A+. Mike McCarthy, I would give him a B+. Switch that around. But you know what? That's okay. They don't want to give the Redskins any respect. But guess what? We're going to start running roughshod over the league. And a lot of people are going to be surprised. And a lot of teams that showed us no respect, that defeated us in the past, things are about to change, homie. Things are about to change. And we're about to become Nicolas Cage, Bangkok Dangerous. Bangkok Dangerous. Yeah. Killer elite. Our defense is about to become killer elite. Our offense, killer elite. Yes, indeed. So, with that said, I'm going to go on and I'm going to talk about the coaching changes and update it. It's like an updated recap of the Redskins front office and coaching changes. President Bruce Allen, as you know, was fired. That position is vacant for the time being. Senior Vice President of Player Personnel, Doug Williams, he was promoted. That position is now vacant. He's been promoted to the Senior Vice President of Player Development, the former Super Bowl MVP. Congratulations, Doug Williams. Senior Vice President of Football Ops, General Counsel Eric Schaefer, fired. New hire from the Carolina Panthers, Rob Rogers. Welcome to DC. Welcome to all the new coaches. Director of Pro Personnel, Alex Santos, still occupied by Alex Santos. Director of College Scouting, Kyle Smith, still occupied by Kyle Smith, who I think has been doing a great job over the years as far as the draft is concerned. Head athletic trainer. Now this is a big one. This is the reason why Trent Williams did not want to play. Larry Hess, 17 years in the organization, was finally fired. Bruce Allen, after about 12 years, fired. Those are the two people right there that Trent Williams had a problem with. So now it's rumored that Coach Rivera is going to try to go talk to Trent Williams to see if he can reinstate him and get him back in the team. Head athletic trainer, no longer Larry Hess, he was fired. Ryan Vermillion is the new head athletic trainer. Head coach interim coach Bill Callahan / Jay Gruden fired. New coach Ron Rivera. Offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell fired. And there's breaking news. Kevin O'Connell has now been hired and picked up by the Los Angeles Rams, hired by head coach Sean McVay. He will become their new offensive coordinator with the LA Rams. Offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell gone, replaced by Scott Turner. Does that last name sound familiar? Yes, he's the son of Norv Turner, former Washington Redskins coach, old Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator. He is now a coordinator. Scott, welcome back home. And Scott Turner, by the way, has worked with the likes of Cam Newton and turned him into a Pro Bowl quarterback. So we look forward to you coming in and working with Dwayne Haskins. Offensive assistant, Matt Cavanaugh, Eric Stram. There's no replacements. There's no report at the time, so they're still in that place. Defensive coordinator, Greg Minuski, fired. Yes! He's been replaced by Jack Del Rio. Kudos. Welcome to DC, Jack. Special teams coordinator, Nate Kazor. Nate Kazor still fills that position. And by the way, Jack Del Rio's son, Luke Del Rio, is the offensive quality control. Welcome to DC. Quarterbacks coach, Tim Rattay, fired. New hire, Ken Zampese. Running backs coach, Randy Jordan. Still occupying that position, Randy Jordan. Wide receiver coach, Ike Hilliard, fired. Replaced by Jim Hostler, the new wide receiver coach from Carolina. Tight end coach, Brian Angelicio, fired. Replaced by Pete Honer, new Carolina Panthers. Offensive line coach, Bill Callahan / Phil Rosher, fired. Replaced by new